As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
I've got to go, and maybe by the time everyone sees this, they will have met their demise by North Carolina, but you got to go with St. Peter's. To have a team like them, a 15 seed, make it to the Elite Eight is just an amazing story. And I don't even know if the story's over yet. North Carolina's playing good basketball right now. They've got an advantage on them in a couple of different ways, but so did Purdue, so did Kentucky. And this team's got a little bit of a mission mentality behind them right now. They got a groundswell of support. It's incredibly fun to watch them play. I think the story is amazing. And I like Manic. I want Manic to play well and maybe to make it there with North Carolina. But I got to tell you, I wouldn't be mad if I saw St. Peter's make it to the Final Four.
I wouldn't either, right? And you look at, have you seen all the pictures of like their gym?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Looks like a high school gym.
A small high school gym.
Yes. What gym is better? St. Peter's or Fort Gibson?
Fort Gibson, not even close.
I agree.
Fort Gibson's like 5 times that size. It's crazy that they play in a gym that small. Can you imagine what it's like to that be your home gym that you play your big games in, and then find yourself in an Elite Eight matchup against North Carolina, national television, that huge, awesome venue? That's got to be an amazing feeling, man.
It's got to be an incredible feeling. Maybe they can get some warm-ups with their school logo on them from Adidas now if they go to the Final Four. Mustache Doug, that guy, I mean, you talk about just blowing up in popularity. I don't even remember how to say his last name. Edert, I don't even, but Doug, Mustache Doug, love that guy. Big fan of that guy.
When he was sitting there with that plate of hot wings, I got an NIL deal. I just could not stop laughing. That was so funny. But hey, man, I think it's a great story. And luckily, you know, for my rooting interest, there's really no loser coming out of that game. You know, if Manic makes it to the Final Four, North Carolina, I'll be happy for that. And if St. Peter's wins again, one of the best stories that we've seen when it comes to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and I mean, it's Shaheen Holloway's last go at St. Peter's, right? I think everyone expects him to be the next coach at Seton Hall. So that's kind of a cool element too. It's like, it's the last ride for him with these guys. And I don't know. Once again, it is 1:54 Central Time right now. That game doesn't tip off until 4:05 Central. So we don't know if St. Peter's won or not against North Carolina. I hope they do, because that'd be awesome. Now, also North Carolina Duke would not suck either. So that's kind of a win-win for all college basketball fans. But I'm with you. They are what March Madness is all about. They are why we love this tournament so much. And this is what makes March Madness so special. It's what makes it unique in the world of sports, because as much as you want to say like, oh, it's not possible, like there's no way, like you could be St. Peter's, or remember George Mason back in the day, like it can happen in the NCAA tournament. That's why it's awesome. That's why you rarely hear people like, oh, no, they can't get that done. It's because in the NCAA tournament, you never really know. And that's why it's awesome.
And it's not like, you know, sometimes you can, because of other upsets and other things happening, like you can find your way into a really beneficial bracket. Can you imagine St. Peter's making the Final Four, going through Kentucky, North Carolina, and Purdue? Like, that's unbelievable. That would be incredible.
We'll talk about it on Wednesday. How about that? All right, who do you have as your loser of the weekend?
I had to go with Villanova. They win, they advance, awesome. But the Moore kid, set for an MRI, left on crutches, did not look good the way that whole thing went down. Hated to see that. Happy that they made it, but once you get to that level and you get into the Final Four, it could be incredibly difficult. You absolutely have to have all hands on deck. Doesn't mean that they can't still do something special, but you hate to make it to that point, feel like you're right there with the chance to win a national championship, and you lose probably your best player.
Jay Wright is a damn good basketball coach. I'm not sure many people realize that they're in their third, like they could win their third championship in the last 6 tournaments, I think.
It's 2016, right?
Yeah. 3 out of 6. That's dynasty, right? That's dynasty level stuff.
Well, someone made the comment that we could have a all blue blood Final Four, and I was like, okay, Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, and Villanova. And at first I was like, I don't know, but I mean, since they made this Final Four, I think that may solidify them as a basketball blue blood, right?
It's gotta, I mean, and there's a debate to be had about okay, do you have to call them a new blue blood or new blood, blue blood, or whatever term you want to use. But yeah, are they a traditional blue blood in college basketball? No, but at some point when a program has the amount of success that Villanova has had under Jay Wright, you get placed in the blue blood category. We could call it something different. I really don't care, but all I know is that team goes to Final Fours. That's what Jay Wright does. And if he wins his third championship in 6 seasons or in 6 tournaments, what you can't tell me they're not a current blue blood. Whatever you want to call it, the elite category.
The other blue bloods that we're going to be talking about being there, their recent success is better than all of those schools.
That's kind of a college football conversation as well. Is Georgia a blue blood program? No. Right? When you talk about historical success in college football, but you best believe they are an elite program now. I think Villanova is it's kind of the same conversation. They may not be a historical blue blood in college basketball, but they are an elite level program now.
Yep.
So however you want to phrase it,
if you're playing Georgia, if Georgia's on your schedule next year, you're treating it like you're playing a blue blood right now. That's how that game is currently. So it's probably the same thing with Villanova, and they've got the recent success. Their recent success is way better than Georgia's, right? I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Villanova shot 28% and won. That
Crazy.
Is, yeah, that is something.
Wow.
If you like watching the basketball go in the basket, Villanova Houston was not for you. And I fall in that category where I was like, oh, make it end. I was like, oh, awesome. Villanova's going. It was a brutal game to watch. My goodness. All right. Let's get to my winners and losers. But first,
Bishop McGuinness Catholic High School has a long tradition of educational excellence. With a 12-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio, no student is overlooked. Bishop McGuinness College Prep Curriculum offers 22 AP courses. There are numerous clubs and organizations for students to join, and as a proud member of the OSSAA, there are 14 sports offered. If you want to provide the best possible educational and spiritual development for your children, contact Bishop McGuinness Catholic High School or visit bmchs.org. Financial aid is available.
And if you're a whiskey or bourbon drinker, stop what you're doing, head to your favorite liquor store and buy some Balcones products. You got to grab some of Balcones Lineage single malt whiskey. It was just voted one of the top 20 whiskeys in the world by Whiskey Advocate, and you'll be shocked by how affordable it is. Also, you got to snag some of Balcones baby blue corn whiskey. Did you forget?
I did. It's made from blue corn. That's the fancy corn.
And that is why it has won more than 25 awards. What a horrible
disaster.
Disaster has struck. Last but certainly not least, you got to buy some of Balcones pot stilled bourbon. Its big flavors make it the perfect bourbon to drink year round. In 2012, Balcones single malt won the best in glass competition, beating brands like Johnny Walker and Macallan. It became the first American distillery to win the competition. This stuff is the real deal, people. If you love great whiskey and bourbon at a great price, then Balcones products are the only way to go. The whiskey may be made in Texas, but the owners, yes, they are from Oklahoma. To find a liquor store that has it, visit balconesdistilling.com. All right. For my winner of the weekend, thought about going with Max Verstappen. Ted is back on top.
Yeah. Shocker.
Yeah. Won the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. But Ferrari, second and third. Leclerc and Sainz. I mean, it could be a Ferrari Red Bull duel this season. Mercedes, where you at? Where you at, Lewis Hamilton?
His mind was not in the right place in the off season, right? Did put the work in.
Yeah, I don't know. He's the best driver ever, so I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah, he's fine. Also thought about here's an off the wall one for you. Also thought about going with Panther City Lacrosse Club in the National Lacrosse League. They play in Fort Worth. They're at Dickies Arena. Started the season 1-8. They have won 5 in a row and are in the playoff picture. So if you live in the DFW area, and I know we got a lot of listeners that do, go check out Panther City Lacrosse Club. Got hottest team in the NLL, Ted.
5 straight. You got to love it.
And then I also thought about going OU softball. Now they're playing their final game against Baylor as we record this. I don't know if they've run rule them yet. It's likely that they will, because they've run ruled teams 13 games in a row, and they have outscored those opponents 139-8. And that was going into Sunday's game against Baylor.
And so is that 3 run rules this year already on Baylor? Looking for 4.
I believe that's correct.
They played them earlier in a tournament, right? So
yes,
or one of those. Yeah. So yeah, my guess is yes. We've got a run rule coming.
I mean, I suppose we could look it up. It's a quick Google, but I'm just going to choose to believe that they run rule them. Is that? Yeah. Oh, actually, oh wow! Luckily, I looked it up. Middle of the 6th, Baylor 1, OU 0.
Whoa! Right now?
Right now. See, this is just us taking advantage of their greatness. We just assumed that they were going to wipe the floor with Baylor. And so
they did twice.
Our apologies to Baylor softball. You're putting up a good fight. I hope you lose them.
Okay.
But man, I've got a lot of honorable mentions. Also thought about going with Mike Gundy. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Going to get $1 million increase per season on his contract. Additionally, got a $1 million retention bonus over the next 5 seasons. The guy's gone to 16 straight bowl games. He's accumulated 7 10-win seasons. So now he is going to be making $7.5 million a year as the head coach of the Oklahoma State Cowboys. And he has earned every dollar of it.
I agree. And I still believe that, considering the circumstances, the school, the state, the fact that he's won as many games as he has, I think he's probably the most underrated coach in the entire country.
Yeah. Got to call him Big Money Mike now.
Big Money Mike.
Big Money Mike Gundy. But my winner of the weekend is another Mike. That's Mike Krzyzewski, headed to his 13th Final Four. Duke beats Arkansas 78-69 in a game that really never felt in doubt for the Blue Devils. I don't know what else to say other than that Duke's playing at a really high level, man. I mean, nobody is playing better than them right now, and they've got dudes. Caro, Kills, Griffin, Roach, Williams, Moore. And it seems like they're all playing well at the right time.
Yep.
And, you go back, just going back and thinking about that embarrassing loss to North Carolina in Coach K's last home game. We talked about that possibly being like the start of the championship DVD, right? Coach K saying the season's not over in his speech after that game. But then they got blown out by Virginia Tech in the ACC tournament. And it felt like, okay, this team doesn't have what it takes to win it all. They've been so impressive over the last couple of weeks. And man, I can't remember my mind changing on a team like so drastically from like weekend to weekend in the NCAA tournament. It's like going into the opening weekend, I was like, is Duke going to make it out of the opening weekend? And now after this one, I'm like, no one's beating that team. Too good. They're too talented, too good, playing too well, mixing things up defensively. Players are, they feel like they really have some input in this thing. You got the whole, it's Coach K's last ride thing. I don't know, man. It's got the team of destiny feel to it.
Yeah. And he made a comment, just to paraphrase a little bit, that, the way that this team has really taken off, like he's able to stop coaching a little bit, so to speak, and just kind of step back and let these guys kind of go do their thing. And they're starting to thrive in that type of environment. And they're hot right now. And hey, the tournament's all about getting hot at the right time, man. And they are hot, red hot.
Yeah. And whether they get North Carolina or St. Peter's there in the Final Four, either matchup. I mean, we talked about either matchup is going to be awesome. And I'm picking Duke to win.
Yep.
Because man, they are rolling. Can you believe it would be the first time that Duke and Carolina will have played in the NCAA tournament if they play each other?
It almost seems like there's been a massive effort to make sure that they avoid each other. Interesting. Wow.
That's interesting.
That would be awesome, though, to a Duke North Carolina Final Four for his last. That'd be incredible.
North Carolina fans, and once again, we're recording this before that game even takes place, so we could sound like idiots right here. But we thought North Carolina fans like experienced one of the most satisfying feelings they've ever experienced doing what they did in Coach K's last home game. Could you imagine if they sent him home in the Final Four?
Woo.
That's the peak of fandom for a North Carolina fan, I feel like.
It's the peak of fandom for North Carolina, and it's the bottom of the barrel for Duke, right? There would be some anger in that one, especially if it was like a controversial type of game. It's crazy. That would be fun.
No
man.
call, like no foul call on the last play of the game. Oh, it'd be something. All right, for my loser of the weekend, thought about going with Italy. I don't follow soccer very closely, but I saw this. Italy lost to North Macedonia 1-0, which knocked them out of World Cup qualifying and means that Italy will miss back-to-back World Cups for the first time ever.
I love that it's North Macedonia. Macedonia is a tiny country to begin with. The fact that it's in North Macedonia is hilarious.
I had no idea. I saw it and I was like, wait, what? Went and watched the highlights and everything.
Come on, Italy, get it together.
I will say the Macedonia goal was pretty sick. It was. But my loser of the weekend, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and it's not for the reason you think. We all know what the mission is at this point in the season. We all know. And they gave us a scare against the Denver Nuggets. I mean, they got Jokic, guy maybe the MVP. They had Trey Mann and Darius Baisley, who now is also hurt, having an MRI. And essentially a group of G League guys. You look up, they're playing the Nuggets Saturday night, and somehow the Thunder have a 105-103 lead with under 3 minutes to go in the game. And I'm just sitting here going, what's happening here? How did we get here?
We did this crap at the end of last season. All right. We've got to lose these games that come down to the wire, tight, late. Let's go.
Now, they did end up losing, but it was entirely too close. Entirely too close. It was causing me stress. I didn't need it in my life, Ted, but just don't scare us like that, boys. What are we doing? I mean,
So
now
you've switched over, because to start off the season,
correct.
You were cheering for wins, but
literally no one is playing. So it's one of those where I was of the belief where it was like, okay, if Josh Giddey and SGA are both out there and they're developing chemistry and they are, making each other better and we're winning some games because of that, then so be it. I'm all for it. We're building for the future. Both of those guys aren't on the court. Lou Dort's, he's done for the year. Like, none of the players that you're trying to build around for the future are out there, except for, I do think Trey Mann, he is going to be a big time scorer for this franchise moving forward. But none of those guys are out there. So the chemistry building is no longer a component to this for me. So now it's like, yeah, I'm to the point where it's like, okay, don't win. What's happening here? And they scared. I was worried. I mean, Poku of all people puts them up 105, 103 with a couple minutes to go. And I'm just like sitting with my head in my hand going, what is happening?
Well, hey, we're getting the chemistry and all of that. They're building that in the training room now. That's good, as long as they're in the same place, right?
I guess team announced, right? Josh Giddey done for the rest of the year with that hip issue he's been dealing with for like a month now. Gilgeous-Alexander's availability for the rest of the season seems rather questionable, but I think everyone's feeling really, really good about building around those two guys moving forward. And you look at what Giddey did in his rookie year, man. Ends up averaging 12.5 points, almost 8 rebounds, over 6 assists a game. Like, undoubtedly he's going to be first team all rookie. So, in hindsight, right, we were all kind of annoyed with how last season finished and how that affected the lottery odds. And then the Thunder end up not getting, a top 3 pick, or not even close. And you end up with Giddey. That appears to have worked out pretty decently, but I would prefer they have a really high draft pick, like 1 or 2 this year. That's just what I would prefer.
Totally agree. I love Giddey, and whenever you look at those stats, those are good, but one of the things is, like, maybe the first 6 weeks of the season, it was really slow for him, and naturally, right? It's a tough transition, but the type of basketball he was playing really in his peak this season it's way better than even that stat line. And the capabilities with him they're next level, man. He's a really fun player. Yeah.
If the Thunder could add Jabari Smith or maybe Paulo Banchero, I wouldn't be mad. Now Chet Holmgren scares me, man. That skinny.
I know.
It's just body, the way he moves. Now he's extremely skilled for his size, but if you can tell, or I guess if you can't tell, I've started going down the mock NBA draft rabbit hole. I'm hoping the Thunder have a top 3 pick. Feeling really good if they got a top 3 pick. Although the general consensus from the people that cover, the draft for a living, deep draft this year. So who knows?
Good. I'm with you on the Holmgren kid. I don't know.
I like Jaden Ivey from Purdue too.
Yeah.
Even though he disappeared. Like, I don't know who that was in his body. Like, there was an imposter for Jaden Ivey in the St. Peter's game. I don't know what the hell that was, but I also wouldn't mind him playing for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I like guys that can get buckets.
Yep. I agree.
I feel like I interrupted you. You were about to say something hilarious about Chet Holmgren.
No. Well, all I was saying is he's obviously incredibly skinny, and durability looks like a factor. But the last time the Thunder took a guy that looked way too skinny, Kevin Durant, it ended up working out pretty good. He's no Kevin Durant, but I don't know.
I I thought you were about to say last time the Thunder took a guy way too skinny. His name was Poku, and look at how that has turned out.
Well, maybe I should have said that. Yes.
Sam Presti, he'll draft the right guy. He'll draft the right guy. I don't even need to be worrying about this right now, Ted. It's okay. It's fine.
You don't.
Unnecessary stress, just like watching them almost beat the Nuggets in Denver in a meaningless game.
They're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. As long as they stay healthy next season, they'll be fine.